I've been watching a lot of debates on YouTube about whether God exists or not. I've been interested in the Bible, and I've been looking into the Nag Hammadi, which is the Apocrypha. So for those of you that don't know what the Apocrypha is, it's additional books of the Bible that were found in a little town called Nag Hammadi in Egypt that have been buried to preserve them because the rules came out to say we don't want these as part of the Bible. And in them are supposedly the secret teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Mary Magdalene and writings about giants and dragons and angels walking upon this earth and the supernatural. Now, here's what I get. I get that the flock are the people that come to church, are treated like children and not given the juicy bits. So the actual Bible that you'll buy in the shop, that you'll see your priest reading from, that you will hold in your hand if you are so inclined, has everything that the flock should get. One of the most interesting pieces for me of the Gospel of Thomas, which is of the Apocrypha, of the hidden books of the Nag Hammadi, is that Jesus basically said to the people standing there listening to me talking, I talk to them in parables, but for you, as he says this to his disciples, I give you the real information, the juicy stuff, the more important real information. And that's what these books are about. And of course, it's debates as to how genuine they are they real? What do they mean? And I go back to what I said at the beginning. I've been watching a lot of debates on people who have gone to theology school to get more deeply immersed in the Bible, and they've come out of the whole situation as atheists. But not one of them has talked about nature as their reasoning why. The reason why they are all atheists, as far as I can tell. Now, please, and this is why I'm making this video, if you have links to videos or quotes from people who are staunchly atheist, who have not discovered God through nature, through first-hand experience, through silence, then please let me know, because none of them seem to have done this. For me, all of this world that we live in, look, I'm in these amazing gardens, is not an accident. And even if you just look at your own human body, you have a map of your whole body on your ear. You have a map of your entire body on your hand and on your other hand, and you have a map of your body on your feet. That's not an accident. You know, these are the things that make me step back and say, okay, there is a God in here somewhere. What is a God? So maybe starting with that, I would say a God is a creator being. And I come a lot from frequency. So I don't worship. That's another thing. You know, you have the Bible, you have the church, you have the religion, you have the structure. And I looked it up, there's 45,000 or more religions, all just based on the Christian Bible, the Old and the New Testaments combined, which is crazy. The Bible is their handbook of what a God is, what a God should be, and how we should behave. But we intrinsically know this deep inside ourselves. We know how to behave. We don't need to be taught. The issue I see is that the way we're designed, and I'm saying we're designed because we have a map of our body on our hands, right? The way we're designed is to be subservient and obedient. There's a slavery gene that can activate where we hand our authority over to anybody else that appears to be an authority figure. And we do whatever they say without question. And we feel safer that way. Like a child who knows that mommy's home, daddy's home, I'm going to be fine no matter what happens. Mommy and daddy will look after me. Except we're not babies. We're grown-ups. And part of this evolution, ascension, hatching out, growing up, is to realize that we can handle the secret information, and that the Bible and the Nag Hammadi and the Apocrypha and all those studies keep people busy. and keep them away from the true experience of God. God is frequency. God is consciousness. Now, okay, let's open up this for discussion. I could say to you, I was guided by the hand of God to open up my healing practice and now to set up a healing school. But it could have easily have been my higher self, a part of my soul that's looking down beneficently onto me and guiding me and helping me and moving me along in my mission. It could have been me. It might not be God speaking to me at all. But does that matter? Here's what matters. Who are you in your everyday life? How do you treat other people? How do you treat the world around you? You know, do you see a dying animal or a person in pain? What do you do? Do you speak up when there's an injustice? And this is what we've just been through for the last 6 years. Sorry for my arm's getting tired. This is what we've been through for the last 6 years. And I say this at 6:06 minutes in. So coming back to frequency matching. I have a great story for you. I went to my friend's 60th birthday party, and she has a friend that's pretty low frequency, kind of nasty, kind of selfish. And I asked her the following week after the party, which was really fun. I said, was your friend there? And I named her, and she's like, yeah, she was there. And I'm like, I didn't see her. It was a small room because my frequency missed her totally off my radar. Didn't see her, didn't even know. And for me, God is one of those very, very high up frequencies that I will never rationally, cognitively be able to process because my brain is not capable. So I leave it in the unknown. That's the thing. Mommy and daddy's home, I feel safe. What if they'll never be home? What if you'll never know who they are? You'll never know who your creator are. Can you still feel safe? Can you feel safe knowing that you have all the resources you need right here? Program yourself to change this so that you are in control of you. You know, they say, oh, Jesus is going to come and save us all. For me, Jesus could have been a man that existed in real life. Jesus is a frequency. Jesus is many things to many people. And I think we, the people, are more powerful than we know when we're not in our inhibited slavery active gene. We create. If my higher self could come and guide me, move me forward in my life, and it appears as an angel to me, then I could be creating an essence of Jesus, or Jesus could be that essence of me. We blend into each other. The limiting aspect is this physical body, where we don't merge and blend into each other. We have definite boundaries with this body. But our spirit, our essence, our consciousness merges together. That's why Freud didn't get it right. I meant to say Jung did get it right. Carl Gustav Jung. I've got a Robin here on the bench with me, and he kind of just put me off there. Look, can you see him? You see, I'm here talking about nature, and my energy is shifted, and the robin feels safe to come over and say hello. I also think of robins as my loved ones who've passed away, and it's my grandfather's birthday this week. So maybe he's listening in. Maybe his consciousness is still active in this realm. This is a realm. This is how I see it, as a realm, and it's not flat and it's not round. It could be a donut. It could be a toroidal field. It could all be happening to us, and we could be avatars having this dream. Just like the movies are showing us that we're somewhere else, doing something else, playing a game. We have the capacity to lead ourselves out of this. When you stop waiting for mommy and daddy to be home because safety matters to you more than anything else, it can't. It can't anymore. So I'm happy for the atheists to stick to their logical arguments about why the Bible is totally wrong. I would agree with that, There's rules in that Bible that make no sense, like you're not allowed mix cotton with silk. Maybe cotton with silk, have I done it so, in God's eyes? Maybe I need to burn in hell for that. Which God? Not my God. There's the Gnostic take. Must have been a terrible God that created the world. Therefore, there's a nicer God somewhere, or the way that the planet is made, that the animals have to feed off of each other in order to survive. And it's a violent, nasty world. I think, I think this world is not what we think it is. I think there's a lot of stories there to distract us from the truth of who we are. And I think, as my voice is going, that I must be on to something. And I think that if we let go of those intellectual debates of whether or not your religion is better than mine, let go of all of that. Let go of religion. Seriously. And be here in the felt experience of the moment, in the, the heart energy, the coherence field. When you reach out and you can touch the plant, the flower, with your heart field, and it touches you back. And you become at that frequency where the lower frequency stuff doesn't impact your life anymore. And then you start living from joy and from love. And you're not waiting for mommy and daddy to come home and rescue you, because you're taking those risks. You're edging out of a comfort zone that was enforced upon you because you were told that that's what life is. And the Bible is a comfort zone, and it's quite uncomfortable in there, but people prefer familiarity and discomfort. And I'm going to go right back to when I was in my counseling degree, introductory year to counseling, to see if I had the stuff that counselors needed. And they said, draw a rose bush. And everybody drew a house first, and then put the rose bush in the house, under a pergola, or underneath some kind of shelter. I drew a little hump, and I colored it in green, and there was the mountain, and I put the rose bush on the very top. I'll never forget that. And my teacher came and said, but how will you survive the storm? And I say, I just trust and I have faith. But then I get to see the sun and I have my independence, because the rosebush was us. And I didn't know that until afterwards. And everybody else needed the structure around them to protect them. And I was out in the mountain with the sky and the sun and the air and the wind. And we need to live like that more often, because we're not alone up there. We have our higher selves, or our angels, or our gods, whatever we wish to call them, deities coming in. And I've met deities. And as I say this now, I see a squirrel. There are signs all around. I wonder, do atheists like Alex O'Connor, who I deeply respect, and I think he has such a good brain, but I wonder what his definition is of God, because he says he's never met him. So when we have an attachment to an expectation of what a thing actually is, we're not looking for what it is. We can't see the truth. There's the joke when that guy goes to heaven and God said, what are you doing here? And the guy said, I was drowning and I was waiting for you to help me. You know this one. And God said, but I sent you a boat. And he said, but that wasn't you. And he goes, yeah, it was you. So he didn't take the boat because it wasn't God. His expectation of God rescuing him looked different to God actually rescuing him. I sent you a helicopter, says God. And he said, that wasn't you. That was the Air Force rescue guys coming to rescue me. And God said, I told them to come and get you, to rescue you. And he said, no, I was waiting for the big hand to come out from the cloud and grab me. Well, God doesn't do that. Obviously, he doesn't. And the biggest thing about being here is your free will. Every single choice you make has consequences. And the consequences of those choices ripple outward like dominoes into your life and everybody else's life. Just like I said earlier, you know what's good and what's not good. You know this intrinsically. It's programmed in, just like the map of your body is in your hand and the map of your body is in your feet. So take a minute maybe and think about this. Bibles, Quran, handwritten books by men, and it's usually men, are made to control. Structures are made to corral and hold. And we have this gene inside of us that likes to be told what to do, because then we can get comfortable in our lives, even though we don't grow, we don't expand, we don't take risks. Who do you admire? The risk takers. The ones that have their home on the mountaintop at the beck and call of the 4 elements, 5 elements, including spirit. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you think about this. I really would, because I think in times of uncertainty, people go back to what they feel and believe is true. And that means the Bible and religion is having an upsurgence right now. It's having an upsurgence right now, either that or the atheistic way of life. And what's really interesting about some of the conversations I've heard with the atheists is they say it changes their identity completely. What would this world be like without a God? One of them, she said her child fell out the window and she was sitting with the child in the hospital and she had nobody to pray to. And it's just sad. You could ask your higher self for help. I believe in energy. I believe in consciousness, and I feel it moving through me even as I'm speaking to you. And for me, that's my expectation of connection to something that's bigger than me. And for me, that's what God is. You know, I'd like to think it would be lovely if a being, an actual glowing being, could walk through the park right now and come and sit with us and talk to us and tell us the truth. But again, if it happens, great. I'm all up for that, but I'm not expecting it. And God talking to me is the robin on the bench, the laughter of the children, the soft, gentle breeze that strokes against my face when I say something that I think is profound. Maybe you don't think it's profound, but I do. So that's me, guys. And I really want this to be a conversation opener. So please, if you totally disagree with everything I'm saying or anything I'm saying, or if you have, you know, places where atheists have said that they've had this experience of connection with nature and still don't believe that there's a God, then I'm really interested in that, because I feel we all need to talk more like this, have these deep conversations so that we can move into a different phase of our collective consciousness evolution. If you don't like the word ascension, that's fine with me. You know, ascension just means a lifting or a rising, but I think it's time that we're the mummies and daddies of this world and that we become the caretakers of the planet and to each other. And that's my goal and that's my dream. How about you?